against the governor. Our mandatory duties exclusively to the federal government, especially except you have a stronger synergy, and that is why my lobbying prowess will come in, because I'm a very, very practical person. I know how to get solutions in that regard.
Thank you, Barrister. Are there any rebuttals to that on the issues of illegal structures that Barrister said that he will fight against? Mr. Albanikoro, 30
Thank
seconds.
you. You're right. Majority of the structures being demolished are illegal in the first place. And on the issue of Ikota that he mentioned, I just would like to clear the air. The government is still in negotiation with the people of Ikota. Some of them are requesting for financial compensation, and some are ready and willing to move to where the government is trying to resettle them to. The Honorable representing this area, Eti Osa Constituency 1, Honorable Noim Adams, has been on top of this issue since, I think, he resumed office in November or thereabouts.
You have a response to that, Mr. Hassan? 30 seconds.
It's very important to note that if you are in the position of these downtrodden, you will not be talking the way I'm talking. If you see the way their lives are, they are not living in illegal places. They don't have illegal houses. It's just that the government has not been able to develop those areas, and they intentionally make those places to be a slum. And to really note it very clearly, the government have no plan for the people. I've noticed what their plans are. They've sold that place. There's a private company who that acquired that premises of Ikota. And my own challenge is that without due diligence, you have gone ahead to start demolition. Demolition started in December. My personal intervention saved the entire mass of the people in Ikota housing estate.
Thank you so much.
And this issue is also coming to Jakondi housing estate. So if the government have no such plan, then I want to advise that the repetition of what of the Morocco debris is still lingering on in the lives of the people.
Thank you
the
so
people
much,
have not gotten themselves to date. So let's be solution-minded. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barrister. No, we have to proceed. We have to proceed. I'm sorry. Now, still on the candidate-specific questions, I want to speak with Mr. Awokoya. Now, reading through what you call your legislative agenda, you speak in very general terms about what you intend to do if elected into office. Now, nothing is very specific about what you would do in Eti Osa or about the problems the people here are facing. People have also argued that your manifesto, that's the one on your website, is light on details. What, for instance, will you do about multiple taxations and extortion of small businesses, or even about the continuous increase in toll fares, which we have seen over the past few years? So every few years, the toll fares are increased. So are there specific things that you intend to do when, if elected into office? All right, so your legislative agenda is light on details, and there is not much that is specific about what you want to do specifically for Eti Osa local government. And what do you want to do in the areas of small businesses that face taxation or even extortion by the local communities, or even about things like the continuous increase in toll fares at our various toll gates? Do we have a microphone for Mr. Okoye, please? Can we have a microphone for the candidate?
Unfortunately, you have not read out my legislative agenda, and I don't know whose opinion it is that is light on details. First here, I said there's going to be compulsory health insurance. Eti Osa is home to all sectors of Nigerians. That's the first item of my legislative agenda. Compulsory health insurance for all secondary schools, university students, government employees in the organized private and public sector. I will only read that. There are all these people in Eti Osa right now. There are schools, there are workers. And so these are already a detailed thing to be done. Now, let me speak on that, is that right now in the health insurance, you have an health insurance law of 2014, which is not. One, there's no custodian of the funds. And so we already have the scandal of some executive secretary stealing money. And so our first proposition, by way of details that will benefit the country and entire Eti Osa also, is that we're going to have health sector fund custodian, wherein funds go and are controlled by these custodians. Let me go on the issue of multiple taxation. We wrote here that we are going to have legislation on investment and free trade zones to enable more investment-friendly, generating and much-needed foreign capital. In terms of taxation, it has to be done by laws and nothing else. So the taxes and the bad environment people are facing here is something that is normal. I mean, it's not normal. It's very abnormal. And companies here are going to be, we were going to change the laws for a more involving corporate life rather than an antagonistic, set of corporate policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Okoya. Any responses from those seated? Mr. Abanikoro. Please, can we have enough microphones on the stage? Please.
There is nowhere in the world where you have compulsory health care. There's nowhere in the world. It's always optional. And then on the issue of taxation, our current honorable representing us at the moment, Honorable Judah Akinloye, has a bill that has gone through the first phase of reading and is going through the second phase. And it has to do with double taxation. So I want Egmont to shed more light on how he's going to actually make healthcare compulsory, because that would be the first in the world. And
so you have 30 seconds to respond, sir.
Thanks for calling me Egbon. So, my Aburo, first, you said there's nowhere in the world. I saw from your resume you went to school in America. You will not go to any school in America if that child doesn't have health insurance. Hold on. Hold on. Then you broke the law. Everybody knows that. The child must bring, because when something happens...
Are you talking about the Affordable Care Act? Because not all 50 states...
I'm not talking about Affordable Care Act. Okay. I'm saying that for schools in America, when you bring your child... Don't say no, you're interrupting me, Aburo. Right?
You have 10 more seconds.
Okay. Sorry, what was the... Now, on the health insurance thing, let's do the numbers. Please, you will have to indulge me a little. Compulsory health insurance means that if we all pay health insurance premiums, then we'll all contribute money to a pool. When we don't fall sick, those who fall sick can access that money, and a lot more people have health care. That's the basic principle. How can it work here? Today, we have about 9 million Nigerians who are on the pension scheme. So we know they have are on health insurance because they can afford it. With premiums of about 50, 60,000 naira per annum for each one, you're going to be having about 500 to 600 billion in health insurance funds alone. If you look at the expenditures of the federal and state institutions every year, it's not up to that. So once we have an health insurance scheme wherein people pay a fixed sum every year, it's going to guarantee more health coverage for all Nigerians. There'll be more employment. There'll be more health facilities springing all over the place, more real estate developments. These are the things that are sustaining even big economies like America.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Okoya. Okay, for this one, you will have 15 seconds. I just wanted to also...
But I can respond to when it reports.
No, I just wanted to also
I have a right of response at all times.
Sir, okay, hang on. I just wanted to mention also that your comment about children going to school having compulsory health insurance is incorrect in the U.S. That's incorrect. So...
I don't know where you... Well, we're open book. I have nieces, nephews, and I dare say some of my children go to school there. One of the requirements when you come to school, both for this, is that if not for the child, for the parents.
Maybe for immunization. Maybe for immunization.
There is health, because what happens
not for health care
when you are in school,
insurance.
that child must have some health coverage. That's the truth. That child must have health coverage. It's true. Once a child is in school, it's a law. Our convention, that child must have a health coverage. It may not be that child paying, but that child must have health coverage. Because once something happens and you go to hospital, the first thing the hospital is happening, where's your insurance? Are you paying self or are you paying insurance? If it is self, it's a different set of rules.
Thank you. That's the option. Are you paying self or insurance? No need to.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to the question for...
This Aburo is very troublesome today.
All right, let's move on to the question for Mr. Obanikoro. Can we move on now, please? Thank you so much. It's becoming a spirited debate. All right, let's move on to the question for Mr. Obanikoro. Now, your father has been the renowned politician, Senator Musili Obanikoro. He left the PDP and joined the APC, and of course, you followed suit. Your subsequent nomination and eventual victory at the APC primaries was a surprise to many. Was it by merit, or was it, as Nigerians like to call it, an arrangement? And also, what will be your single biggest achievement in 4 years if elected on February 16th?
For the record, I actually facilitated our move to the APC, not my father. And one singular thing that I'm hell-bent on doing for the next 4 years is that the entire Eti Osa, there is not a single public library that anybody can use. In the next, at least after 4 years, I want to have that added to my CV that I initiated a public library in Eti Osa. And whether I merit this ticket or not, I guess that depends on individuals' opinion. Have in mind, I've contested 3 different elections in this area, and I can boldly beat my chest to say I have won at least 2 in opposition party.
Thank you. Do we have any rebuttals, any responses to that? All right, let's move on. Okay, we have a rebuttal from Barrister Hassan.
I want to ask, you said you won 2. What are the positions and at what point?
In 2011, October, I contested for the chairman of the LCDA, Koyo Balende. And the last election, 2015, I contested for Lagos State House of Assembly. Those are the 2 positions. Yes, I won the election. This is not the forum to discuss politicking. But if you want me to go into details, you and I can meet behind closed doors. And I know you know.
Any other rebuttals from the stage? Okay, we're moving on to the question for Mr. Adejimi Oni. Now, you are the youngest of all the contestants here. Born in 1990. And the question of experience will be what is ringing on the minds of most Eti Osans this morning. Going to the National Assembly is akin to being thrown into the deep end of a pool or into an ocean that is full of sharks. So the question is this: can you actually handle this position?
Thank you very much. Definitely I'm the youngest candidate here. And what I have is that courage to go to the National Assembly and force positive change. See, there is something we need to understand. As a youth, I'm not comfortable with how things work in the society. I might not have the facts and figures and every other thing that every other candidate has been talking about, but I have just one thing that distincts me from other candidates on this podium: the courage and the ability to go there to transform positive change in the society. And one thing we need to know, one thing we need to get as we are running now, we need to understand that let's say for instance, when we get elected now, do we have that sacrificial mind to actually get to the floor of the house and move motions on the bills that we are clamoring about now? Because it's me, I'm coming out as a sacrificial lamb, and I'll make sure that when I get to the House of Assembly, I would definitely enforce working bills. I'll definitely enforce working bills. And I'm running as a youth to lead demonstration. I want youths like me to take this as a challenge to them that we can actually do this. Politics is not for the older people alone. It's not a gerontocracy manner. And it's not just an oligarchic system of government. It's a government that we need to participate in. And as Donald McCannon said, he said, leadership is an action, not a position. So I'm going there to lead that action, not because of the position. So, and my candidacy is not...
Thank you so much.
And my candidacy is not leveraged on any selfish interest, but the commitment to the people. And I want to say to my brother, whether it is zonal intervention fund or constituency allowance, it is still the people's money. So I want to use the people's money for the people. You understand?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Oni. Thank you for that. Now I have a couple of questions that have been sent to me. Also, we're going to be opening the floor now at this point because we are fast coming to the end of this debate. I'm going to ask, now this question is, it says the APC, so I would guess that the question would be for Mr. Obanikoro. It says, why has the APC been unable to give a general hospital to Eti Osa constituents in 20 years? That's from Comrade Israel Akintola. So why has the APC been unable to give a general hospital to Eti Osa constituents in 20 years?
Like I said, there are pockets of clinics here and there. There are about 2 clinics in the riverine area and a few clinics within town. Just that the general hospital itself is what we don't have. And like there are 2 of them that are over 90-95% complete. One is in Iranla. The other, as a matter of fact, the one in Iranla is the contractor that is actually delaying it. Now, that one, what they need to, before they approve it, or before the federal government takes over, they want them to sand fill and interlock or tar the compound. And once that is done, equipment will be brought in. So what I want to do is find out what is going on, what is delaying it, because this information is about 2.5 years old. Ditto the one in Ologolo as well, Ogobo as well. Area is also about 90-95% complete. So we're almost there. We're taking baby steps.
Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to take questions from the audience now. Responses to questions should be about 30 seconds as well, please, so that we can take as many as we can. You wanted to respond to... Or can we have...
Hello?
Okay, Mr. Okoya. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Is that a rebuttal or a general comment?
A rebuttal to the response. 20 years to build a hospital is the height of unseriousness, an uncaring set of governance, and I would dare say, a really hatred for the people. It shouldn't take 1 year or more than 18 months to build a hospital. People need health care. And governments are elected. People go into government to take care of the people. So there should be no excuse. There should be an admission that there's a failure. Perhaps maybe they will seek to correct the failures in future, but there should be an admission that there's a failure.
Thank you, Mr. Okoya.
Thank you very much.
So are you about to make that admission? Or...
I believe those are the things that I am going there to do.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to now be taking questions from the audience. Please keep your questions short, to the point, and also you can address your questions directly to any of the candidates based on what they have said here today or maybe what you know in their policy documents. All right, so of course our candidates can respond within 30 seconds. All right, so let's have the gentleman in the second row. Please introduce yourself. Do it very quickly and also just move to your question. Can we have a microphone for him, please? Maybe I should just use one of mine.
I'm Mugunda Region Campus by name. My question goes to Mr. Okoya. Yeah, thank you very much. Since it's very important for we, the people, to know who is going to represent us at the Federal House of Representatives, please, I want to throw a very direct question to you. In Tomori, I want to believe you've done your findings before contesting for this position. Tomori is part of your constituents that you are contesting for. They have a particular challenge. Mr. Okoya, please, this challenge, how do you solve it?
What's the challenge, sir?
I won't say it because I want to believe is part of it. Tomori falls. Hello.
I think it will be good if you can mention what the challenge is. Is it a health challenge? Is it
Hello,
an
sir.
infrastructure challenge?
Mr. Moderator, I want to believe before any of them here, but I've taken a decision to contest. They won't have. I'm sorry. I will reserve that. That means he has not done his final position.
Okay. Hold on a second. Your question is a general question because they're all vying for the same office. So is it you threw it to Mr. Okoya? Is there a specific thing that he has said in his policy document that he wants to do about that area? Otherwise, that question is for all of them. So
please,
if you're okay, go ahead.
Hello. I only threw this question to Mr. Okoya, and I want to believe there are 4 of them contesting. Any one of them can. I just really want to point out these 4 candidates. Have they done their findings? Are they familiar with their constituents that they are trying to?
Okay, so what we're going to do is, what's your name, sir?
John Campos.
John Campos. So what we're going to do is make this a puzzle. So there seems to be a problem in what community? Tomori community. Is there anyone who can identify what that problem is from the candidates? Mr. Okoya wants to make a statement.
You see, we're communicating with one another, and it's good to do things with some good integrity of intention and what is good. I think I don't think such a question should be accepted on this floor. Somebody should ask a question, either what he wants, because if we're going to represent you, you're going to tell us what you want, or you have identified a problem. Trying to create some puzzle up in the air, it sounds to me like politics. And we're not here for politics. We're here for governance. Elections have not started, so we still have 1 more week to visit the places all over the constituency. So if you ask a question that you can't define, then the answers that are going to be given are not going to be definable. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Can we move on to the next question? Okay, maybe we'll just take it row by row. Now, on this 3rd row, we have this gentleman over here. Comrade, sir, we've taken your question already. We have quite a number of people. Thank you, sir.
My name is Mr. Otto Udofia. I want to ask, my question is directed to Honorable Jide Obaniko. I want to ask, since when did you start nurturing the aspiration of this political ambition? And what are the common man in Eti Osa benefited from your person and campaign team?
Okay, so that's a good question. So, when did you start nurturing this ambition to go into politics and, of course, governance? And also, what has the common man benefited from all your activities?
I'm trying to think back to, should I start from the secondary school one or the university or active politics? So it depends on where you want to start from. But let's start from where active politicking started. I believe as far back as 2006, December 2nd, I moved back from the US to come and participate in the gubernatorial candidates, and I happened to coordinate my father's youth wing across the state. Fast forward, just as my brother here, at the age of 29, I ran for Lagos State House of Assembly. At the age of 29, I also ran for the chairman of the Ikoyi Obalende local government. And I believe Ikoyi Obalende, the Arewas there today, they have a councillor in council, and that's from my efforts in 2011. That group, they started recognizing that group as part of us a part of the residents in Eti Osa. And
thank you. I think we should move forward. Okay, so the young lady in the back, we're trying to make this as random as possible so that we can get a good cross-section of the people that are here. We haven't taken any questions from here at all, so let's start with this gentleman in front.
Thank you. My name is Agaraike Chukwu. Okay. In Nigeria, we are used to promise and fail from these politicians. I say we are used to promise and fail from most of these politicians. So I want to direct the question to all of you. What should we do to you if you fail us? Should we sue you or what? What do you think we can do to you?
Sorry, what's your name, sir? What's your name, sir?
My name is Agadaike Chukwu.
So can we get some more volume on that speaker? I think on that microphone there might be a small issue with it. So his question is a strange one. He said we are used to promise and fail from politicians. What should we do to you? What should we do to you if you promise and fail this time around? So for this question, we're going to give just 15 seconds for each of the candidates. For everybody who can answer the question. So 15 seconds each. So this is like a probation thing. So we give you 18 months probation instead of 4 years. So what should we do to you if you promise and fail? So 15 seconds, please. Just address the question and move forward. Anybody can start.
Hello. All right. I think that is why we've not fulfilled our potential as a nation. It's a very good question, and that is why we are here. We need people to ask questions from the representative. If you are at the level of the National Assembly, you say you are representing the constituency.
Mr. Oni, what should we do to you if you promise and fail?
I'm coming to that. You need to ask questions.
Okay.
It's constitutional for you to recall any candidate that is not giving you the dividend of democracy. As a person, I'm going there because I want to bring the commonwealth of the people to them. We know we've been solving it's normal. It's something we already understand that they don't come back to us.
So constitutional recall. Okay, so that's a good one. So Mr. Okoya.
Well, if I don't perform, you vote me out. But I tell you that I'm going to perform. My community, where I live, they have put me in the office for the 3rd year running. They have better electricity. We clear our drainages on time. We have the problems of the environment have been found out. So I will deliver. So when I've delivered, you return me much more. But for those who don't deliver, you vote them out immediately. Thank you.
Mr. Abanikoro.
Simple. 4 years' time, you vote us out.
So we should wait for 4 years.
That's unfortunately, or a constitutional recall. That's it.
All right, Barrister, do you have a second different